The digital landscape is ever evolving, shaping the way we work, learn, and connect. The digital landscape is ever evolving, shaping the way we work, learn, and connect. Are you ready to thrive in this dynamic world? We are a passionate community dedicated to bridging the digital dive. Through our comprehensive training programs, we equip businesses and young people with the essential skills they need to succeed in the digital age. Digitech Today fosters a collaborative learning environment, connecting experienced trainers with eager learners from all walks of life. Our impact goes beyond training. We are building a future where everyone has the power to participate in the digital world. Join the movement.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining this evening. My name is Don, and I'm your host and founder of Digitech Today community. So at Digitech Today, we do empower young professionals, business owners, and marketing and tech gigs on how to leverage on digital skills in order to scale career-wise and business-wise. So tonight, we're going to have a very interesting conversation around not just having the online shoutouts, the online noise, but how to actually activate your personal brands, your personal your personal activations into business opportunities. And so, with that, we have a very able Shelina Manji. We'll let her introduce herself to our moderator Wamra, and Wamra is also she's a brand strategist and as well a realtor and a growth strategist as well. So, without much ado, feel free to ask questions in the chat and comment section as we are live on LinkedIn and as well YouTube, and we'll be able to answer them as we continue. We make our sessions very interactive, so don't feel left out at any moment. So, without much ado, allow me to introduce Wamra to take us through the rest of the session.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Womra. Thank you so much, Don, for that introduction. And the fact that you've already introduced myself, I don't think I will dwell so much into my own introduction. So, tonight we're going to be talking about something that has quietly become something that is powerful and is shaping the business. It's become a business tool quietly, like without everyone noticing. But I do realize that this phrase has been used a lot. You look in this corner, the other corner, somebody's talking about personal branding, someone is talking about it being a business strategy, somebody is talking about just personal branding. And sometimes you sit and wonder, what does it really entail? So tonight we're going to not just look at the aesthetics part of it, but how do you, at the end of the day, turn it to become a business opportunity? So we're going to let our speaker today introduce herself, and then we can
Oh my God,
go.
thank you guys so much for having me here. I mean, this is new to me, having a virtual, I'm always in front of people. Today, I'm just, on a virtual panel. So I'm very happy to be here. So my name is Shalina Manji. I'm an investment and partnerships lead at HTV Advocates. So we are basically a law firm, having different departments, and investment is one of them. We're very keen on um, assisting investors coming from, global investors coming to Kenya. And of course, right now it's like a big topic right now in Kenya with all investors coming in every single. So it's been a lot going on, to be honest. So we are here to give them the service when it comes to support. So yeah, so that's what I do, and also I am in the part of the committee for Kenyan National Chambers of Commerce, Women in Business, where we are supporting women, who are in the business field, who are looking into growing. So we are that's our key point right now. It's just to um, you know to support women. yeah, in growth, and also self. So that's what I do in a nutshell. But I wear many hats. But with time, I think I will be able to speak more about it. So yeah, so that's what I do in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shalina.
Thank you.
So personal brand is one of those terms that, as I've said, it's being thrown around so much. But tonight, I would want us to at least ground it. Please tell
Mm,
us in 2026 what actually makes a personal brand not only visible but credible enough for
mm.
somebody to actually want to work with you.
True. So I had written a few pointers about this conversation. So credibility today is not visibility. Let's just start with that. The things that matter, some of which matter, some of which are being around real deals and outcomes. You have to be around what seems real. You know, we're living in a time whereby you don't know who is real and who is not. But at the same time, just being in rooms that have real opportunities is much more important. Secondly, consistency. What I mean by that is your alignment of what you say when it comes to being in those rooms and the people you meet. Everything that you say has to be aligning with what you do. So that's what one thing that I would emphasize on when it comes to what makes a personal brand, credible, right? Because there's one question I just came to mind is, would someone trust you in a room where money is being decided? So that's one question I think we should always put in our minds when you walk into a room: is, will this person trust what I am saying? All right, and will they trust me? You know, when it comes to decisions making and stuff like that. So, for just in short answer to that, I think that's my take to that. Yeah,
Okay, okay, I hear you. So credibility, credibility doesn't equal
doesn't
to
equal visibility, no.
visibility. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I get
And I
it. I
will
get
of
it.
course speak about that later when it comes to visibility. But for now, when with that question, credibility is not equal to visibility for sure. Yeah,
Okay, so what I'm getting is you also need to have your own clarity on who you are and what you're bringing to the table.
100%,
So that when
100%.
decisions are
That
being
is
made, you come to mind, right?
exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah, so how do you actually start translating that credibility into actual partnerships? What does that conversion moment look like? That's please take us
So
through that journey.
okay, so of course it does not convert directly. You know what I mean? Number one, conversion does not happen like that. It has different stages. So one of which is people have to recognize your thinking capacity. You know, when you speak to somebody, they have to understand this is she smart enough to have a sit down with me or with us and have this conversation with us and actually make decisions, right? And then we have the next step is now they involve in these conversations. So first, I think the first time when you meet somebody, when you're having a discussion, especially when you're around business men or business people in general, the first thing is to think, how is her mindset or how is his mindset? And then they say, can we actually invite her to conversation? You know? And then they then test you when it comes to low risk collaborations. What I mean by that is they might just have a very simple engagement when it comes to, let's say, limited commitment into a deal, example, to just see how how well will you handle this. All right. And then remove the last one where it's now it becomes in a formal partnership. All right. So I think when it comes to partnerships, it's different stages. It just didn't happen. I think for me, it takes a long time for me to meet somebody. And I'm like, okay, I've gone to the room and I've met this particular person. I'm like, here's okay, example, I can give an example if that's okay. So I can walk into a room and of course, people introduce each other, maybe in the panel or discussions. And I'm like, you know what? He may have what I need for my next, for the next deal or something I know of. So I approach him All right. So of course it takes a while for, first of all, you're a young lady. Let's just start there. Okay. You're a young lady, and of course, with nowadays, I mean, the good thing is women are being accepted in this spaces a lot more than before, but there's still questions. So why is it takes stages? Is they want to understand why, what is it, what is it in you that that you need to be part of, like what is it about you that you need to be part of this, and why you, what's your, what like um what are your reasons, you know what I mean? So it takes stages, and then now trust. But this is a person you're supposed to meet at least more than 3 4 times, trust you me, for him to say, or she to say, okay, let's have this discussion. So as I said again, it's stages. Credibility does not, it does not convert. I mean, credibility does not convert instantly. It takes time. It can even take years for something to actually come, to fruition. So that's what I would answer to that.
Okay, so building, what does it take to actually build that personal brand?
Okay, so what it takes is, I can give you my my idea behind all this that I started, right? So one, you have to have that open mindset, meaning you have to be, networking is tiring. I can tell you that when you network and meet people every day, it is tiring, but you need to have that open mind and that time and space to say, you know what, I want to start meeting people. And it's very interesting. You meet lots of interesting individuals. And when it comes to business conversations, it's even more interesting because you learn a lot. Like I've learned a lot. So it takes now, you come out there and your mind is like, I want to just interact. I just want to know who Don is. What does Don do? What does he like? And it doesn't have to get into business conversation. It just has to just be the simplest things, like, oh, so what do you do, what do you like, where do you go eat, what's your favorite food, how's your family back home. If you're not from this country, you talk about, like, what are the things that is exciting about the country. And I think through that, you then convert the conversation into that business. And I think, just being a social butterfly that I am, that's one thing. Maybe it's a gift. I don't know, but I'm a social butterfly. I love networking. I love talking to people. I love knowing just people's personalities and what happens after that. Who knows? Like, in terms of, like, business, it might just turn out to something, a good, a business deal. So so when you ask me, like, like, what it how I've forgotten the question. Speaking a lot, sorry. So from that question you've asked me, it's just, you just have to want to do that and be there, and then of course it converts for sure into deals.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I actually love the way that
I
you
mean,
put it. It's actually creating meaningful conversations, meaningful connections,
Exactly.
where you're actually interested in what the other person is and who they are, not just what they
100%.
do.
And you'll be
Yeah.
surprised the way they are, so like, oh, so you want to know, because it's not always about the minute. Let me just tell you something. The minute you go into a conversation and it's business, the first thing, it becomes boring. Then it becomes like a 2 3 seconds thing. But you will be so surprised how people are so appreciative if you even ask them, how is your family? How are your kids? If of course he's married or have kids. And I think through that, just being warm about them and not about you, it then opens them up to actually want to engage more, want to meet more. And it even goes beyond. You say, you know what? We don't even have to speak about business. Can we have coffee? Let's discuss about life. Because, to be honest, so much is happening in someone's life outside business.
Sure.
So you develop friendship first, and I think that's the key. You have to be friends first. And then the business conversation, because through friendship, they will now pick your mind and who you really are. You know, when you're speaking business, you have wear a business hat. you know, you become all the serious person and you're speaking numbers and stuff like that. But then now, when you speak about, you become just general, then you become yourself. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it becomes very
Mm.
easy. Honestly, it becomes very, very easy. Very easy.
Then
Maybe
you wanted to say something?
just to I wanted to just ask something, because I
Mhm.
see you, Shelina, you also attend you attend quite a number of high level networking events, probably for young budding minds or young professionals.
Mm.
Also, because who want to know how do they get access to such high level events? Because sometimes people think these are just events which are uh, put aside for a few select, but probably there is another way, or there is something that you know that you can share with them that can help them attend such events and just network and get to meet some of the great minds out there. Tell us.
Yeah. So so how I started was I was going for small breakfast. That's how I started. Like going for small, those breakfast forums where there are like 20, 30 people. So
Mm.
then I became consistent in those small breakfasts forums. Then, so I decided, you know what, let me become a member of a particular, like, like say KNCCI, all right, industry. So you become a member and you go to this small forums. But now the catch is you have to be aggressive. How do you have to be aggressive? Just get to know people. Don't even have the mindset of I want to make business. Just have, how you can go to a nightclub, stupid example, but you
Mm.
actually meet people. You want to talk and mingle and what do you do? In the business mindset, is the same thing. So I went with the thinking with the mindset of like, you know what, I want to get to know who this person is. What do they do? So I found myself very interested. And then what happened is the organizers of these industries, they pick how consistent you are. Then they friend you, because what happens is I started out saying, you know what? How about I start marketing these industries in my posts? Push it for them without nothing. So I would be like, oh, I attended this done by example, your brand, right? And I'll post you. And it does not, and I will just talk about I'm gonna give free marketing. What happens is that industry then sees that you are actually not only branding yourself, but also branding them and marketing them, right? They then friend you and they're like, oh, thank you for, doing this. Then the organizers are the ones who you're supposed to make you have such good relationships with, because then they will then invite you to more and more and more to come, because one, consistency, you're aggressive, and you don't shy away from building those networks. And that is why they actually organize these things, because this is what they want you to do. They want you to go out there and speak to people. And as much as taking pictures, you're speaking to people, you're actually building something, and you're just not only just speaking and ending it. They then see a follow-up that you have actually met them after the forum. They're like, okay, it's actually some work being done. Then from there is when I started, getting invited to bigger forums. So from breakfast, it became to lunches, it became to dinners, and then
Wow.
slowly somebody will see me and say, hey, you are here. Can I invite you here? Oh, sure. So you get invited to a government forum. Then government forum, you're like, okay, now let me be consistent with this. So you are consistent with the government forum. All of them, now they know you. They're like, oh, we know her. They become a familiar face. And of course, the government forums, of course, there's of course security purposes. They always have to have a background check on who you are before they give you a badge. They actually have a background check of who you are, if you've done anything crazy in the country and stuff like. But now when you're seen more often, they know this person is from this place, and She comes here often. She carries herself this way, with respect. Not a small thing that they look, and you're always watched. By the way, they always watch you. Anywhere they watch you. So these are the things that also you should keep in mind, especially if you really want to grow in this in branding yourself. How you carry yourself in these spaces, it's huge. It's huge for reputation. It's huge. And of course, I come to a topic whereby as we speak on how it can really change you as a person. But yeah, to the next, to the next question.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
I want to
All
go,
night.
I want to take you back just a bit. There's something that you
Yeah.
mentioned, and you said something important. You said about being a young woman walking into these rooms and still having to prove that you actually belong in the conversation. How much of your personal brand has been about managing that perception and turning it into your own advantage?
So of course I went through beginning. Of course, they would not really take you seriously. Those are facts. They will like, oh yeah, okay, you do this, all right, that's okay. You might not hear from them again. But what happens is because they keep seeing you consistently, they then build that on like, okay, so now what was she saying? you know, what is it about her? Like, so what were you saying last time? Because then what has happened is focus on building you. Like, don't this other thing, the extra noises. Like, if he doesn't talk to me, if he doesn't trust me the first time, no problem. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's not. I mean, I wouldn't expect you to want to listen to me. Of course, I'm 5'3". I'm short. Okay, let's just start there, and I look pretty young. Okay, so and I'm aggressive, as I said.
Well,
So I approach. I'm 5'3". I'm short. So I funny enough, so I because I'm aggressive, I've never had the mindset of like, oh my god, this is CEO. Oh, I'm afraid of approaching this guy. I'm like, for me, he is who is he again? That's the guy I want to go see. It's so never shy. I never shy away. Never ever have I shied away from because he's in a big position. I cannot see him. In fact, I can see him. And they like the fact that you are confident enough to actually sit down with them and speak to them no matter how young you are. So you tend to find them with time, they then engage with you. They then slowly engage with you and want to have that more conversation with you. And so for me, it was all about, listen, Shelly, I need to get this done. I need to meet this person. He has what I need. His ideas benefit me. I need to pick his mind, and I will, and I go for it. That's just how I do it. Like I don't know how else not to do it. Like I don't know. so yeah, yeah. So
interesting.
that's how I
Now,
just get it done.
how is normally like that flow in terms of, you see, like nowadays you find situations where yes, through personal branding, young professionals will attend these networking events, but also even by getting like those contacts through this networking, you find at some point even just collecting those contacts doesn't really help. I know there's an aspect where you mentioned about, creating that rapport a bit, but how can also like now from getting these contacts to actually making it work for them? How do they go about that now let's say post that
So
networking event? Yeah.
okay, so when I approach somebody, I'm never about what they can they do for me. It's what can I do for them. So for me, my state of mind is always, how can I add value to Dawn? Okay, so Dawn is doing this. Okay, I'm not gonna come to you and say, hey, I need this from you, or and of course you are a very influential person, right?
Mhm.
The minute you go with that mindset of I need this from you, how many people, for example, you go to a head of a government official, right? Example, right? Or even a influential CEO or someone like that. How many people go to this particular person for help? That's their life. They always get somebody calling them and telling them, I need this job, I need this done for myself.
Yeah.
Yes. So so what they so but when you go to them and say, how can you add value to you? Like I can make your life easier by example, depending on what they're doing, always try and see how you can add value into their business. So when you do that is when they are okay. Let me listen to her. Let me listen. Let me welcome her into my space. And then that's when now when you get that contact, you get into that space, you gain that trust. Then what happens? I can guarantee you any deal that you will ever bring forth to them, they will want to listen to it and they want to be part of it. 100%. But if you go with the mindset of what can you do for me, they will not want to hear ever from you again. you know. So I think you just have to just be smart enough to read them. Read this. Read these people. Like read. By the time they're where they are today, they have mastered the human mind. Mind. They have mastered. When you get into the room, they know why you're there. But change it. We have to learn how to change what can you do for me to how can I add value to you for you to be trusted and let into those spaces.
Wow, interesting. Now, also on the other angle, so when you see when you're attending these events, and it's more of people attending events, networking events, more of personal building your personal brand, so that you want to be seen, you want to be recognized,
Yes.
for us in a specific industry, for a
Mm-hmm.
specific purpose. Now,
Mm-hmm.
also there is this aspect of there, something. It's only until when you're recognized and your visibility is so strong, or you add value to these particular kind of forums, that for
Yeah.
example you're invited. But before someone reaches that point, how can they navigate aspects of having to pay, for example, high tickets, or yeah, mainly it's tickets and stuff. How can they navigate that in, because some of them maybe they really want to attend like high tech events, marketing events, but nowadays the tickets are not cheap. A very well organized
Yes.
event,
Yes. Very true.
from
Yeah, you're right.
you look at very well organized events, it's like $70 and above. So
Yeah.
most are not able to uh, talk about that. So how can they be aggressive to even reach to a point? This is something someone can comfortably attend.
So, if I take you back in the day when I started networking,
Mm.
I mean, I'm talking about like
Yeah.
3 years ago. Yeah, maybe even
Hmm.
4. Back in the day, like no one
Hmm.
going to forums was not a big of a deal. Like it was not a no one really saw it beneficial. So most of them are for free. Then when it started becoming a very
Yes.
hyped up, I mean, the country had a lot of traction from, expats and stuff like that. People have
Hmm.
started charging recently. Number one
Yeah.
reason to, yeah, it just started maybe a year now, right? When I started seeing the trend
Hmm.
of charging, but I remember you wouldn't have to pay, right?
Yes.
The reason as to why most of these forums are chargeable is because they are strategically focusing on a specific sectors that need to attend, and
Hmm.
also they're avoiding just anybody to come. You know what I mean? Just anybody. But I can now go back to like when it comes to governmental forums, like maybe general ones. where anyone is invited. You can actually just go online and just sign up. They For that one you have to probably wake up very early, and go, make sure that you're the first one to get your badge, or
Yes,
get the
yes.
link early in advance, like maybe a month or two, or even a year in advance, by the time they're like
Mm,
talking about it. So you have to just be very quick at knowing, where am I going to get this invitations, the ones that are open
mhm.
and the ones that are closed. Fortunately, unfortunately, they are now subject to only the individuals that are supposed to be part of that forum.
The
Now,
forum, yeah.
you
Mm,
know, like crypto, they only need people who are in crypto,
mm,
AI, So I think they're just avoiding just anybody to come, and just focus on the on who they actually need, to be there.
mhm.
So yeah, so I again, I usually say, like, Nairobi in general, in Kenya, you're having connections is the best thing for you. So if you're connected, you can probably get into the event that's charging and get it for free, because
Mm,
again, relationships.
yes.
You have to build relationships to get into these spaces. You might not even end up paying, because you have a good relationship with the person who is organizing. You'll be like, I've seen you're hardworking, and why don't you just come? So
And probably
relationships,
also know you'll add some value. Probably you
100%,
count out the event and they actually get more attendees through your addition to the
a
event.
100%, 100%, a hundred
Yeah.
percent.
So true, true. I agree with you.
Sorry, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Sorry, it was last minute.
Now another one, maybe before she catches up.
Mhm.
Another, I don't know how should people attend events because of FOMO or because really it's something it's FOMO something that can lead someone to actually uh, getting value from these events, or it should actually be something out of passion, like you love this is my industry, it's an AI event, it's a tech event, so I'm attending because it's within my field, or let me just try it out, probably I'll end up getting entrenched into these forums, and now it becomes my thing.
As I said, you have to be ready to be that person who is open to build relationships. It has to start with you. You have to have, if you're afraid of, the introverts, extroverts,
Mhm.
and you can imagine, if you're an introvert and you really want to do this, you have to shake it up, and be like, you know what, I need to step into my extrovert somehow and try get this thing done. Um, I was speaking to a lady, and she's in consultancy, and she's telling me, I want to get into this space, and I want to build these connections and networks. And I was like, you know what, if you have a wrong, if your reasoning is not straight as to why you want to do this, you wouldn't make it. Why am I saying this is that, if your reasoning is, you know I want to, not I'm not against anything, like, people do their own thing, but if many women, if they say, some women, right, not all, some, they say, no, I want to get into this space because I want to get myself a you know a handsome, smart, good looking man, has his money, and that's your mindset, you're
Mm,
not going to make, you'll be out of there in 3 4 seconds. Why? Because they already read your energy while you're there. But if your
mm,
mindset is, I want to build network, I want to build relationships in the business side, and you close off handsomeness, you close off you close off all those things, you literally close it off, and you're like, I have blocked this. You're like, how am I gaining, how am I going to leverage from his business mindset, and you put the rest
mm,
aside, I promise you're going to make it. Because trust you me, In as much as us women can read how what men want, men can read what women want. And this I'm talking to women who are listening to me right now. In as much as we
Add the
women
volume.
think, in as much as we as women think that
Yes,
men,
yes.
we can read men, they can read us so fast with our intentions without us knowing
And I
that
think
they've done it.
it becomes worse when it's the men reading the other side, the other way.
100%.
Men
100%.
become more, we become more alert actually.
Yes, and they're like, why is she, what is she after? Then they will
Yes.
never ever call you in anything. They wouldn't want to, they see you, they want to turn the other side. They won't have, they're like, she's here for another. Because remember, when we are in these forums, these men are around their peers, their colleagues. So if you go with the intention of, let me flirt or to get a business in, that's the worst thing you can ever do to yourself. Worst thing. Because number one, they do not want their friends or peers to see that something, because most of them are married, and you don't want to be in that situation. And so he knows his peers around. He's being watched by his boss or somebody, right? So you don't know who this guy is. So he will, the minute that he knows you're there to flirt with him to get what you want, he will turn you down so fast.
So fast.
And nobody want to talk to you. You're going to end up standing by yourself having coffee. Somebody says, "Can I speak to you?" She's like, "Give me a minute."
And they
They
go.
disappear, and you go home without even speaking to anybody, because 90% is in this for at this get this forums or events are men, businessmen. You see, so I was telling her, like, if you have that mindset, or you say, I'm going to get, I'm going to, I want to flirt with this man to get business. That is the worst thing you can ever do. Worst thing. I was telling somebody the other day is that I hardly go to cocktail events. Like the event cocktail, I don't go. Why? My reason for not going is because when people are under, you take two glasses of wine. Example, I've met Don at the event in the afternoon, right? And
Mm.
we've had a good conversation, and we're about to close a deal. We're like, Don is like, Shelly, let's meet next week. We're about to close something, and you're like, this is amazing. Then you're like, oh, let me go for the cocktail in the evening. And Don has had a couple of glasses of wine. So now he's not seeing Shelly as the Shelly he saw in the afternoon, which
Yeah.
is very normal, right? And then he starts like, you're looking very, speaking the alcohol and stuff. Then what happens is that now Don goes back home and says, oh my God, I was drunk yesterday. I was tipsy and I kind of disrespected Shelly. Men really get affected by these things, when they are,
Mm.
when they step, when they overstep. So he'll be like, oh, I was, I did speak to Shelly this way, and now she does not see me. They overthink, right? And what
Mm.
happens? That deal is gone because now he's afraid of seeing you. He's afraid of meeting you. You're afraid of seeing me. You see? So
Mm.
again, there's some things. If you really want to build your brand and you want to be seen a certain way, or this is who you want to become, there's some things you'll need to put aside. Fun times.
Cocktail, cocktail. Yeah, you've said something really that has,
Yes, cocktails. They
got to
close
us.
deals.
Yes, because
Cocktails
I've
close deals. But
I was about to say, like
mhm,
now when I look at today's events, like events have really been evolving. We used to know breakfast events, and then it was like, and then it came to like networking events, like a full day event, and then nowadays we've
yes,
noticed somehow a bit too much. So it's a mixture of whether it's a full day or like half a day, like afternoon to evening, whereby it ends with
yes,
cocktails and
yes,
I feel like cocktail is really becoming, especially look at our industries, tech, tech, marketing, the communication events, like most of them will take that angle of having something to do with cocktail.
Yeah.
Then how should we attend the cocktail and then me
So let me
skip
give
the
you let me
cocktail?
give you a tip. Let me give you a tip. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So cocktails normally when it happens is just to, we've had serious business this afternoon. We've had serious conversations. We've had serious panels and discussions, and now we want to just mellow.
Mm-hmm.
Have just free from all the crazy. So whenever they decide to have cocktails, it's more like just just being easy, free. But there's danger. It's very dangerous,
True, true.
especially when
Mm-hmm.
alcohol is involved. Me
Mm-hmm.
myself personally, I don't take alcohol. It's just a thing. So I avoid going because even if I'm not taking, the other person might just overstep his
Mm-hmm.
boundary and then ruin something that really we just created that during the afternoon, and then so I don't go. Okay, that's number one reason. One, okay. Two is that I would really highly recommend, if you want to build your brand and be seen a certain way, don't drink. Don't drink during the cocktail get together. Like, go home, have your wine with your friends, have a good time, enjoy with your friends on that weekend, your friends and your peers. But when it comes to anything business related, don't drink.
I
Don't
support.
ever have a discussion with a glass of wine or whiskey in your hand. Trust me, because they you're thinking that these people are very intelligent. So they're gonna have their glass of whiskey and they're like, have more. Yambura, have more. Have another one. Don't have. So tell me about yourself. But they are studying who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me back to, when at work and you guys normally have like this work after
Yeah. Right.
or work parties, end of years.
Yes.
So I usually say that is the time all your bosses will attend.
Mm.
Reason why is that they want to see who you really are under that influence. They say you're surprised when you go for end of year party, and then 3 months down the line, you're like, you get a letter saying we've got somebody better than you, or I don't
Mm.
know, or your post is no longer required, your
Why?
position. It's because maybe there's something that you said or you did during the end of your party caught up with you much. you know so i I honestly don't go for any of those things. Even when work, I don't go for anything that is related to a point whereby something going to happen when people are not in their in their
Yeah.
right sense of mind. So that's one thing I would really suggest for you to just be, be taken seriously, and you want to grow yourself and you want to build yourself. There's so much you have to sacrifice, and that's one of the things you need to do, to really be cautious about. Honestly, that's one thing I can give you for free. For free.
Insightful. Back to Amra. I know you don't like the aspect of skipping cocktails.
No, listen.
I
No, what I'm saying is go for it, but always have in your mind. I think people think differently. How I handle things is different from how you would handle things. But
Mm.
as a woman, especially, I think there's a way you're supposed to be cautious about yourself, and how you carry yourself in these spaces. And yeah, but to each their own. So I'll just tell you what I think, and I might be wrong, but this is just my perspective and how I see things in my world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually agree with you when it comes to professional and business wise things. It's easier to actually handle it in the professional manner, and you can party, have cocktails with your friends, not this other side of
Not
you.
the other
You
side.
know, you
Yeah.
have, yeah, you have different parts to you. You have your friends, you have your colleagues, you have your partner, you have all these parts of you that build who you are.
Who you are, and in each
Yes.
space of your life. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
So
sometimes you shouldn't allow them to collide. Yeah,
Mm,
never,
yeah,
never,
yeah,
never,
yeah,
never. Yeah.
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 And I see our time is coming to. It's like
Yes,
Yeah.
it
I
has come
told you
to an
guys
end.
I will talk too much. I told
Yeah,
you I'm a people person. I talk. I talk. That's
Yeah.
why
I
I'm
yeah.
get it.
everywhere.
Get it. Mm,
But that's the good thing about having
mm,
you in this space, that we're
Thank you
able to
so
understand
much.
more than what we could have expected. But before
Thank
we
you.
close it off, maybe just to ask, there are
mm,
people who've been showing up. They've been, now this is online, maybe they've been showing
Mhm.
up, they've been posting, they're putting themselves out there, but that business side hasn't clicked yet. Maybe what do you think they could be doing wrong? What's that one thing they might be doing wrong?
You
and
know,
possibly, what should they do right?
Yes.
so they're not positioning themselves. I can tell you. I can easily tell you they're not positioning themselves. You have to position yourself in a way that they have to understand your specific way of thinking. I can give myself as an example. I do post like almost maybe every 2 or 3 days on LinkedIn.
Mm,
And my reason
yeah.
for posting is more like just more like just letting you know, sharing my thoughts. It could be about investment. But again, at the same time, I am also letting you guys know who Shelly is a brand. I'm a brand of my own. At the same time, I'm marketing the people who I've the events I've attended, and I think for me, communication about what's happening in Kenya, because all my most of the followers are not from Kenya. So when I post, is mainly like this is what happening in Kenya. This is what we've been up to. This is these are the achievements Kenya is having when it comes to investments. This is the tractions we're getting. And funny enough, you'll be surprised. I actually get people connecting with me on LinkedIn from out of the country wanting to visit Kenya because of one of my posts.
Mhm.
You understand? So
Mm.
it's not it's how are you positioning yourself? That is where you don't have to do it for attention, but for positioning. You see, so that's where we normally go wrong. It's like attention. Oh, I'm but if you're posting with communication that carries volume and has value and is adding value, or it's giving out a communication that is worth reading, and it will actually add more knowledge, you know fantastic. But I think you have to be trusted in specific contexts. So just in gen just to just close it off by saying is that you just have to know how you're positioning yourself out there. It's not about attention, just positioning. Yeah, I hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
yeah,
sharing with us tonight. Because
no
I think most
problem.
people came here with the intention of understanding posting online, but we now realize that in every room that you walk in every conversation that you're having, every
Yes,
other moment, somebody is already forming an opinion about whether they're
a
going to do
hundred
business with you.
percent, a
Yeah.
hundred percent. How you walk into the room is how they will. It's
Yes.
you.
Yes,
It's
yes,
you.
yes, for sure. And then
And
your brand's reputation is actually in motion every other day, and
every
you have to
other day,
protect it, you have to build it with purpose,
hundred
and that
percent.
way you're going to let it open your doors.
A
Thank
hundred
you so
percent.
much,
You wouldn't have
Shelina.
said much better. I mean, you
Thank
you,
you
you
so
actually
much.
nailed that. So, thank you so much for having me, and I'm happy to come on again if there's any further, talks about this. I'm happy to share ideas. Anyone can inbox me, link DM me, and I'll be happy to speak to you. I can also meet you for coffee. That's not an issue. I'm happy to get to know uh, people more. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shelina. I mean, we'll definitely have another discussion on another date that we will decide. Of course, we do these discussions each and every Thursday, 8
Yes,
p.m. East African time. And I'm
awesome.
sure from this you're going to get some follow-up. Our audience normally reach out and they're like, "Oh, I had this conversation, but there's this thing I've always wanted to know more."
Yes,
Probably the speaker, I think she can handle this topic. So I know that's a conversation you're going to have. And this thing of using your personal brand to create opportunity, these are very timely conversation. We have so many
yeah,
young people who are very active on LinkedIn. They're building good content on TikTok. They have good content on Meta. But then it's a nightmare for them to actually convert and actually get opportunities. And so even in another conversation, we will actually be looking actually how can you like now get earning from not people giving you opportunities, but you creating for yourself the opportunities. Because I
that's true.
believe there are also many opportunities that young guys can tap into and not just wait to be given opportunities. And we can see some are already doing that out here.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I like to say this was such an eye opener. Learned that
Thank you.
credibility is not visibility. That should be
Exactly.
written in bold.
Credibility is not visibility.
Visibility, yes.
Yes.
So, asante sana,
Thank
and
you.
to our audience, thank you so much for joining. Remember, as I've said, we do this each and every Thursday. Our speaker's handle is on our timer on your screen. Also, our moderator, you can follow them on LinkedIn. If you have any follow-up questions or anything you need to discuss with them, their LinkedIn DMs are open, they are not private. So reach out. And also, if you want to reach out to me, I'm also glad to have a conversation. So thank you so much, everyone. And it's a bye bye for
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
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 The digital landscape is ever evolving, shaping the way we work, learn, and connect. Are you ready to thrive in this dynamic world? We are a passionate community dedicated to bridging the digital dive. Through our comprehensive training programs, we equip businesses and young people with the essential skills they need to succeed in the digital age. Digitech Today fosters a collaborative learning environment, connecting experienced trainers with eager learners from all walks of life. Our impact goes beyond training. We are building a future where everyone has the power to participate in the digital world. Join the movement.